the great man himself, Andre Agassi, leading the way. And he'll come out to great applause on centre court. And following just behind, Carlos Moya. So here we are, and I'm sure the adrenaline is flowing now. And these precious moments before the start, when you try to gather your thoughts, organize all your equipment in the right places, and go through the usual routines. All players thrive on routine. And in a moment they'll proceed to the net where Pascal Maria, our umpire for this first match, will be conducting the spin. You'll hear him. He's wired for sound. Well, Doug, just before that happens, a quick answer. Who's going to win?
Moya. Is that quick enough?
That's very quick and very forthright. Just for the sake of controversy, I will pick Agassi. So we'll have a lot of fun tonight.
How are you? Carlos. Gentlemen, same condition, better 3 time like set, 6 balls, 7 and 9. We use net device, and please be seated until I call time. It's a TV changeover. Thank you very much. Any questions? Heads or tails? Heads. Heads?
Heads, says Agassi.
Heads.
Heads it is.
Receive.
And I'll be amazed if he doesn't receive. Didn't hear him say he'd receive, but he'll receive all right. Always does.
Well,
as befits one of the best returners of the serve in the game. And just going now to collect what? The towel? The balls? They've forgotten to get up the balls, I do believe. Here they are. Andre's getting them as we prepare for the first of tonight's 2 remaining quarterfinals. USA v Spain, Agassi v Moya. And here they are, the last 2 spaces, they're at the bottom. They'll be filled tonight with Breda and Hewitt already through to play each other tomorrow. Well, the balls have been brought on court. Agassi had to go and get them himself. It's probably the first time he's ever had to do that at the start of a match. The 5-minute warm-up already underway. So let's give you a few more details about these 2 men. First, the 34-year-old American Andre Agassi, former world #1, of course, turned pro in '86. Doesn't seem possible he's been around for that long, does it? 58 singles titles to his name. He's playing here for the 13th time, being now introduced to the crowd here. He's won 8 Grand Slams and been in 6 other finals of Grand Slams. He's won $28 million plus in prize money altogether, and this year he's 20-9 in win-loss, 444,000 in the bank. He's had a very light dart of tournaments. This is only his 10th outing of the year, and he hasn't had any wins. This time last year he had won 4 tournaments, so that is why he's dropped number 4 there last year in the Intersect race to his present 19 and that 18, and that is a fall from grace indeed, but he's determined, he says, to recoup and rebuild his career, which has been a terrific one. If we look now at the Master Series, nobody has won more, 16 of them altogether, and this year 10-3 in Master Series events, and 1 TMC title. And didn't play here last year, but he has won this tournament twice, back-to-back. And that is something Andy Roddick will be trying to do this year. To reach this quarterfinal, Marty Fish, 4-1 down Fish was in the final set when he retired. He had a back problem. Then he Andre beat Thomas Johansson, former Australian Open champion, 6-1 in the 3rd, and yesterday Chaler 3-3, and as I said, Doug, I thought he was getting better and better.
I think he is, and I think his opponent, the man hailing from Mallorca, currently living in Geneva, is a 27-year-old by the name of Carlos Moya. and he's looking to get better tonight because he's had a few more struggles than Agassi has in this tournament. Moya turning pro in 1995, 17 singles titles to his record, 4 of those coming this year in Chennai, Acapulco, and Rome. 3 of them actually. Prize money at $10,840,000. And you see this year, well, that's an excellent record. And in 1999, Carlos Moya was ranked #1 in the world. He finished at 7, but he was ranked #1, and then again last year at #7, but on the way back up at #4. And certainly if he can win this match tonight, gives him a chance to keep improving that ranking. His ATP Masters Series record is absolutely tremendous, 103-64. Those 3 titles, Monte Carlo in '98, Cincinnati in 2002, and Rome this year. So this has been a very good year for Moya. His best result, well, that was the win we just spoke about. And he also was a Tennis Masters Cup finalist in 1999. So he's had tremendous success in Master Series events, and you see how he got here. Well, he struggled in the first round against Palmer, down a set and a break, came back, won it. Ljubicic up a set, gave up a bad second set, won the third, and then against Arthurs, that was the real scare. Down a break in the third set, and 1 point from being down 2 breaks, somehow found a way to pull it out. And I think the pressure's gone from him. He should have been eliminated from the tournament.
Twice.
Instead, yeah, twice. And instead, he's playing, he's like a cat with 9 lives, and I think he'll be very loose tonight.
He's only used 2 of his lives, so he's got plenty
7 left.
So very true. Well, it's often the way, you know, when a player gets fortunate and escapes from imminent defeat early on, he goes on to win the tournament. We've seen it before. Well, the only thing is that Agassi has got a 2-1 head-to-head lead on Moya, and won the last meeting. That was last year in the Miami finals, 3-3, and that was a sort of similar court to this one. And Agassi does thrive on these surfaces, and particularly at the end of a week. I mean, he sometimes goes out early in these, but it seems to be getting stronger and stronger, and that's why I think he'll probably win. I know you think Moya is going to win, and it will be therefore a pretty interesting battle. Our umpire tonight is Pascal Maria from France, and we'll see him. There he is, and he uses that little handheld computer, on which the screen of which he taps to advance the score after each point, and all the information is relayed around the world via the wonders of computers and technology. So he's a bit keyed up by the look of it, which is a good sign. If he's not nervous, he won't play well. You have to be keyed up. Just a nervous sip of water. The age doesn't know. That's very true, isn't it? 34 playing as well as ever.
First set.
So to the first of our 2 remaining quarterfinals, Andre Agassi against Carlos Moya.
Carlos Moya to serve. Ready? Play.
Moya just waiting for the crowd to settle. They have, and we start.
Well, you asked me who I thought would win tonight's match. I'm going to change my pick. I'm going to go to the guy wearing the black.
That's a rotten thing to do.
15-0.
So now that you're in the no-win situation, which of the 2 black-clad figures is going to win this one, you think?
Yes.
30-15.
Moya looking to serve big in this match, go down the tee very, very well, and he'll also try to go wide to the Agassi forehand, open up the court on big points. And that's what we've seen from Agassi a lot over the last few weeks. Mishitting return of serves, particularly on second balls. That's something so uncharacteristic.
Lovely recovery volley from Moya. Surprising. Agassi by dropping it over the well. A good start by the Spaniard. Just what he needs. And the Spaniards are so strong in world terms. There were 9 Spaniards who have finished in the top 10 since 1973, and there's Joffrey Porter, who is Moya's coach. He was in Toronto as well.
I'm happy to be back tonight. He was thinking it was all over yesterday when Moya was playing Arthur's.
He thought it was all over against Palmer in the first round.
Agassi taking the ball very early and then surprising Moya by coming in on this delayed volley. And if Agassi can get to the Moya backhand, he should have success tonight.
Typical increase in pace, sudden acceleration. There's a factor we haven't mentioned, Doug, is the effect that the crowd support will have on this match. Agassi bound to be the home favourite, the American.
It's definitely a partisan crowd, as you said, and it's an electric place, and they love pulling for the 34-year-old.
First service.
Both made the start they wanted. Solid service games. That's a great settler of nerves. Characteristically wearing his shirt outside his shorts, and he pulls it up like that before he receives.
15.
We might see a few aces tonight. One each so far.
That return of serve came back to Moya before he even finished his follow-through. That's how early Agassi takes the ball.
So another excellent return, paving the way for that attacking play. Darren Cahill, his coach.
Killer.
2 break points. He's stepped up the pace in these early stages, testing Moya's defense.
And that's the wide one we were speaking about on the big points. Moya has the ability to hit that angle, and that gets Agassi well off the court. He doesn't time the ball as well, and I think that's what we're going to be seeing a lot of this evening.
Well, if that had been a fast bowler in cricket, we would have said that lifted off a length. It was a perfect length. 131, quite quick too. And his second base.
Agassi playing relentless tennis now. He's absolutely powdering everything and getting the point started.
Stadium for Agassi, getting the first break of serve. 2-1.
Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the north end of the stadium where Amanda Beagle, Miss Ohio 2004, is seated. Amanda is a graduate of Youngstown State University, where she received her degree
that really is a fierce blow to strike early. That break, but he's returning serve darn well, even the first serve.
He's absolutely powdering every single ball. He's playing with so much confidence getting into this quarterfinal. That's what he needed. He needed some wins. And you can see what happens when somebody at the level of an Agassi is able to get some match play and some match wins. He can strike the ball as well, if not better than anybody, and he's absolutely pummeling the shots. And he's putting Moya on the defensive, and I didn't think that would happen, particularly on Moya's own serve.
Yes, it is a fine, fast start. And a fine evening, too. Look at the blue sky above. How marvellously the weather has improved. Well, Agassi is playing here his 6th quarterfinal in Cincinnati. Of the 5 previous ones, he's only lost 1. And that was to Hewitt a couple of years ago. And he's twice been in the semi-final. Twice lost in the semi-final. Once to Chang in '93, once to Sampras in '99. Of course, he's lost once in the final and he's won a couple of finals. So.
But hasn't won a tournament since the Houston ATP clay courts all the way back last year. Making a costly decision here, thinking that ball is going to be long. And because it's not, it opens up the court for Moya, and he takes advantage.
Well, of course, Agassi will be desperately keen to win a tournament sometime this year. Because since he started collecting titles, and that was way back in 1987, there's only 1 year in which he hasn't won any tournaments at all. That was in 1997 when his ranking dipped precariously.
So this is a great chance for him this week. very good events this year. Chennai on hard court, Acapulco on the clay courts, and then the Tennis Masters Series event in Rome.
Beating Nalbandian in that final, yes. He was looking good at that stage of the year.
But he anticipates so well, and this point shows that. Being able to pick that return from Moya, guessing right, and then hitting the volley.
Terrific tennis.
Inspired tennis.
He just swings at those ground strokes and instinctively knows just what weight to put on the ball to get the perfect length. I mean, his control of length is absolutely astonishing. There was one forehand in the middle of that last game that I couldn't believe I was seeing.
In that time, mano a mano, forehand to forehand, and Agassi prevailing. If he can break down Moya's forehand, he's going to have his way in this match.
15.
And Agassi's relentless hitting, all resulting from hours and hours and hours of practice. It all started when his dad, Mike Agassi, who was himself a great sportsman, an Olympic boxer in 1952, had him training before school every day, and sisters too, and they would go out and bash balls. And he always encouraged him to go for the ball, hit it hard, and then he went off to Nick Bollettieri's camp in Florida, and again it was encouraged to go for broke, hit the ball hard, go for your shots, and it's produced the most remarkable champion. And that slide of dunk which we were talking about, getting the game on the board. Only his second of the set. He's still a breakdown. Agassi at the moment in control at 3-2. Well, he'll need a few heavy serves like that last one, that third ace. And I think if we look at his first serve percentage at the moment, it's 56. Well, that's fairly healthy, but he'd like it just a bit higher. Agassi at the moment serving 70%. That's very good.
And Moya got in trouble that one game where Agassi had the 3 break points, and he only needed 1 to convert. But against Agassi, it's so important for Moya to get the first serve in. That's the way he's going to be able to dictate points with his forehand. If not, the way Agassi is ripping the ball, he's going to be stepping inside the court, not just a foot, but like 2 or 3 feet, and moving Moya all over the court. Moya's going to be defending in that case.
So another packed house here at the Lindner Family Tennis Centre, so named after one of the benefactors of this lovely venue, which has several times won the players' vote for the most popular tournament on the tour at the higher level. The 2 categories of tournament, and that those awards. Certainly Paul Flory, the tournament chairman, and his team have done over the years a superb job. Now what's that about? Oh, he wants that towel put on the chair, just asking the ball boy to take it back, the towel. Well, all business tonight. 3-2 with a break.
Agassi opening up the court, and then with the most solid backhand that I feel he possesses, the one that changes the direction. Agassi has Moya shaking his boots. Agassi's taking the ball so early. Moya hasn't played anyone this week who's resembled that type of form at all.
That'll help. The percentage is up to 77 now, first serves, and he's winning 80% of those that go in and 100% of his second serves.
It's Pete Sampras-like.
It is, yes. His old rival. Quite wonderfully, giving Moya no time to breathe. Serving well.
First service.
Getting a nice short ball thanks to that deep forehand. It's the forehand that's going to open up the opportunities for winners like that. Oh, talking of taking the ball early. Well, just look where Agassi is when he hits this. Just behind the baseline, the ball's still rising, and boom, unplayable. There he is again. That's what I was talking about earlier, his command of length, his natural command of length. It's just breathtaking. Certainly one of the greatest players I've ever seen on return of serve. I suppose you'd have to put Jimmy Connors up there in that bracket. Bjorn Borg in his prime. Going back further still, Ken Rosewall, supreme returner of the serve. Well, Darren Cahill can be pretty pleased with life thus far.
14.
Once again, the Agassi backhand doing a lot of damage, changing direction and going to the strength of Moya, which Moya is not looking for.
Yes, well played. They're both able to hit winners off balls that are not of perfect length, and that return just a little bit too short. And the fourth ace, rescuing a difficult game for Moya, who still keeps in touch in this set. He couldn't have afforded a double break, but 4-3.
You know, both players certainly have a strategy when they serve to the other one, and Moya, when he's returning Agassi serve, he's so far behind the baseline, not only on the first serves, which are the yellow balls, but also the second serves, well behind the baseline. A lot of those he's trying to run around to hit a forehand. He's not really being successful because when he's that far back, Agassi can creep inside the court even more and dictate points. As we swing that around and we show Agassi, look at where he is. He is on the baseline at worst case against first serves. A lot of those wide to the forehand. He's trying to take them before the angle takes the ball too far away. But the second ball, he steps well inside the court, and that's where he's able to pound on Moya's second serve and start to dictate what happens with the point from Moya's second serve.
Which is why Moya is just winning 54% of his second serves. Well, there's a lot of speculation about Andre Agassi's retirement, and every time somebody asks him, he says, well, while I'm playing the game and enjoying it, I'm not going to retire. Why should he? And he's absolutely right, of course. But I think if he were to go through a whole year without winning a tournament and it was quite apparent that his powers were failing, I think that might persuade him that the time has come to hang up the racket.
Well, if he wins this match tonight, certainly is going to convince a lot of people that he has a lot of good tennis left in him. Well, at 34 years old, Agassi can do something that not too many players can do. He can rip the ball, and then he can use the disguised drop shot like a good senior player would do.
That's it up.
Well, next year we'll be able to play in the 35.
That's right. He's got a lot of that guile going for him right now.
Yes, it's just too good. I mean, that half volley down the line was... Don't try this at home. This shot coming up right. The shot that brought him in. Because you'll probably mistime it. Walking rather slowly to his position to find the towel. I don't think he's going to throw it in, but he'll need it to keep cool.
He was trying to throw it in yesterday, and somehow Wayne Arthurs wouldn't let him. But Moya needs to change his tactics right now. Agassi holding serve far too easily.
Well, you said it earlier, Doug, if the forehand's going to let him down, he doesn't stand much chance, does he? Because that is the big shot. Bit of concern there, Geoffrey Porter's face, and also on the face of Jan Schafter there, who is his chiropractor, who hasn't been with him the whole year. We've had Juanan Martorell doing that, fulfilling that function, because we have been told that Jan Schafter had set up his physio business in Mallorca and wasn't travelling anymore, but obviously he's going to travel occasionally.
Now Agassi that time looking for the wide one, and 15 Moya surprising him with the flat serve up the middle.
Well, he needs to surprise him a bit.
30.
Good serve. Just keeping him afloat at the moment, the serve. Yes, good length. Yes, and he thought he'd served an ace on the first serve at that point. So
I thought he had also.
So he was a bit miffed, I think, and then served the double fault. That was careless. Third.
Advantage, Moya.
You know, there's the classic forehand, changing the direction of that ball to the off court.
Game, Moya.
Followed by the big ace.
That was his 6th ace, and he needed it.
Agassi leads 5 games, 2-4.
Just to keep the pressure on Agassi's mind here. He's only got one break. He's 5-4. Well, he's got a lot to think about sitting there quietly. He's got to find a way of breaking Agassi's serve, but Agassi has been absolutely relentless, getting a good first serve in as often as not, and then on the second shot, that's where the damage is being done.
Well, Moya's had no breakpoint opportunities. As we discussed earlier, he's standing well behind the baseline, and that's giving Agassi a lot of opportunity to hit either angle wide to the forehand, opening up the court for the second ball, or jamming the body, and Agassi's just stepping into the court, and Moya doesn't have any resistance right now.
Well, if this was a Davis Cup tie and you were Moya's captain, would you be telling him to stand up closer and have a go at those serves?
Absolutely. Absolutely would tell him to stand in much closer.
A little bit of bristle on the Agassi chin there. I don't think Steffi, his wife, Steffi Graf, the former Steffi Graf, is here this week with him. But the last time I saw them together was in Newport, the 50th anniversary of the International Tennis Hall of Fame's founding, and he made a speech that was quite extraordinary in introducing his wife Steffi to the induction ceremony at this year's tournament in Newport, and it was a most emotional occasion, and he spoke for a long time about Steffi.
Love 15.
Well, that was a careless miss.
In golf, they would call that a gimme. It's when the putt is so short, it's less than the length of the club. Putter.
Felt good to Moya.
15.
But in fact it was wide, no question. It looked wide from us up here, and I think TMI, yes it will confirm it. Lovely counter-attacking from Moya.
15-30.
He's got to do something like that in this game. This is a very big point coming up here.
Agassi ripping away at the Moya backhand, which then leaves an opening on the forehand.
Another crucial moment, 30-all. Oh, well played.
And now the Spaniard showing some class. Being very smart and patient, going behind Agassi with 34. Doesn't change direction as well.
Well, now here is a great moment for him. It's his first break. Yes, well played. And at last, Moya becomes the aggressor.
Well, you talk about big shot making and crucial shot making. He's got a huge forehand, and he's able to use it to get him even in this match.
And if you cast your mind back, Agassi missed a very, very easy forehand on the very first point. And he was on his heels from that moment. 5-all. Well, we talk about momentum in matches. We just had a momentum swing. Keeping the pressure on with that 7th ace.
And only 106 miles per hour, but so intelligent with angle and accuracy of the angle.
Let. First service.
Well, they'll be pretty happy, I think, because Moya's jolted Agassi in that last service game with the Americans.
30-15.
He's keeping the pressure on marvelously well with his serve.
Agassi thinking very clearly, getting the second ball, coming in on the Moya backhand, and then going behind Moya. Working well.
So another of those match-turning moments, 30-all. Oh, yes. Took guts to do that.
Well, whoever has the first chance to hit the big shot is going to have it happen. Agassi's trying to do it off the return, but he doesn't catch it clean, and then Moya off the forehand is able to do so.
little bit tense there.
That's the weak shot, the backhand, and when he's under pressure, he sometimes can't deliver off that side.
Well, he's seen so much tennis in the course of his coaching career. Darren Cahill used to be with Leighton Hewitt.
Advantage, Moya.
3 aces in this one game, 9 in total now. It's been a good serving performance. Probing for the weakness.
Absolutely. Yes. And a little bit of lazy footwork there from Moya, not moving to get in position to hit the backhand.
Advantage, Moya.
Yeah, well played. That was such an important game. And he weathered the storm.
Moya leads by 6 games to 5.
When he was tested on the backhand and brought back to deuce, he closed out well. He's 6-5.
Tickets are now on sale for 2005. That's to 2005 ticket sales office of England.
Well, you look at both these men, and Agassi seemingly having control of this first set, serving for it at 5-4. Played one very, very poor point, and it's put Moya back in the driver's seat. And now the look in his face, the determination, the body language.
Yes, good footwork here under the falling board, going back sideways, little overlapping steps, and then just doing enough for that smash. Not trying to hit a huge blow, but controlling it with side spin and taking his 6-5 lead.
And keeping the momentum.
Hasn't been ahead in this match since the first game of the match when he held serve, so that's a great recovery. And it was fine to see the way he put together those winning points to break back. Well, the lights are blaring out now. The daylight is still good enough to play without them, but they always turn them on early so that you grow into them, as it were, as the daylight fades, so they take over. And one of the many youngsters we've seen here this week enjoying the tennis. A lot of families here at this family tennis centre. Where Andre Agassi now will be trying to play catch-up.
Forehand.
Now, are doubts beginning to creep into his mind?
Certainly. When you don't hold your serve, serving for the set, it's very difficult to forget what happened.
Oh! 15-0.
Well, Moya, you can tell, has stepped it up. His ball's now coming off the racket quicker. Agassi maybe not as hard as it was.
Oh yes, you're so right. Extra pace, and the best shot in that rally was Moya's backhand from his backhand corner, deep to Agassi's backhand corner, and he could do nothing but just block it back, and that was fatal. Oh, if he'd left that and it had fallen in. What a disaster that would have been. It wasn't far out.
Well, I would have chosen to hit this high ball thinking I could put the volley away, but Agassi, a bit of a gamble and it pays off.
Oh yes, that's the perfect length again.
And under pressure, Agassi just taking his time, laying the ball deep into the court with precision.
So this for a tiebreak. Well, that was again a little bit uncharacteristic, making an unforced error there. Deuce.
Let. First service.
Fourth of the match.
I guess.
And did he need that? It's beginning to look a bit shaky, this game. Yes, well
said. 6-all, first set, tie-break.
And Agassi's gone to the chair to get a new sweatband there for the wrist, which he has a strapping on. He's had that for some time as a precaution, that's all it is. Agassi has suffered from wrist problem, kept him out of some events last year. Tiebreak.
You're talking about excellent length. Moya being able to hit the baseline, and then Agassi not able to recover, hoping to get an out call, but the ball hit the line. And Moya with the big second forehand.
Oh, there's an error that was
2-0.
Out of the blue, and he's looking a bit anxious here.
And a little unsure.
A little tentative there. Moya with the mini break advantage, thanks to that error on the backhand. They're taking a leap out of Agassi's own book.
Well, Agassi didn't think that Moya could hit this shot from about 7 feet behind the baseline, changing the direction of the ball, going up the line. Agassi not prepared to see that from that backhand of Moya's.
And a wild forehand from Moya. Well, the tension rises.
Moya.
look at the 3 balls and use the 2 newer ones.
That's the weak side.
4-2, Moya.
So pinching one of Agassi's 2 service points in this pair. And I think there, an illustration that we've been saying earlier this week, that he's half a yard slower than he used to be.
Well, the problem is Agassi steps in off of the serve, so he's committed inside the court, and then when you go behind him, he doesn't have the time to get back and recover.
But the crowd are very keen to see this man recover from 2-4.
Moya.
Just 1 minute break in it again. Doesn't give much away when you look at Darren Cahill, but he'll be churning away inside at this scoreline. Remembering that Agassi served for the set at 5-4.
Swinging away, opening up his shoulders and feeling like he can hit it anywhere he wants.
Too good.
6-3, Moya.
Quite wonderful tennis from Moya. And the Spaniard with 3 set points.
Touch like that one too.
Well, it was worth the risk. Run round the weaker backhand and give it all you've got on the forehand. It might have been a winner, but it wasn't so. 4-6. 5-6.
So Agassi making sure he puts pressure on Moya to have to serve it out. Agassi in this position couldn't do it.
6-5, Moya.
2 saved. But the third of Moya's serve. Extraordinary, that 4th double fault coming at the very moment when he needed his best serve to close out the set. Well, it's about how well you can control your nerves winning tennis matches. And he's been thrown a lifeline, has Agassi, with that double fault. 6-all.
7-6, Moya.
Well, it's to his immense credit, Moya, that he didn't panic after serving the double fault at set point and worked out a very good winning strategy to go 7-6 ahead.
Once again, Agassi relying on a very good first serve, surprising Moya with the forehand.
And saving a fourth set point.
Pressure,
8-7, Agassi.
Moya's feeling it.
Having saved 4 set points against him, here's one for Agassi.
Believe it.
Yes, it's easy to believe it with this tension that you spoke of. The intensity of this tiebreak considerable. Yes, forcing the error.
9-8, Moya.
And that beautiful heavy forehand forcing the backhand error has produced a 5th set point for Moya.
And Agassi muttered under his breath, keep it away from his forehand. Match is all about power and offense. And when you have to hit a defensive lob like that, your chance of winning the point is not too good. Agassi forgot in the heat of the moment that they have to change sides.
Well, that's how deeply he is concentrating. It's easy to do that. The intensity of this tiebreak, quite wonderful. Each man answering the challenge well. Nine all.
Let. First service. Agassi.
Agassi's 6th ace, bringing him a 2nd set point.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Good serving.
10-0.
Yeah, that's a body line serve at the right moment. That was intelligent.
11-10, Moya.
So a sixth chance for the Spaniard.
Pretty gutsy. Good first serve, surprising Moya with a serve volley. And what a perfect time to do it, because that return was nice and high and Agassi just had to bunt that volley. Cup the ball just a little, open the racket face, lay it in the open court.
If there had been any hesitancy in Agassi
12-11
when he served for the set at 5-4, and there was, it's all gone now. He's back to his intense best. Here he is with his third set point.
Thank you.
Depth beating.
12-0.
Moya thinks they're changing. Agassi's still back.
They are changing.
They are so focused.
24 points have been played. 4 groups of 6 points. Change ends after every 6.
And not too many tie breaks go this long. 12 points each. Certainly both players feeling like they've had their opportunities.
This time it's Moya who's had the pair of points interrupted by a change of ends.
Agassi.
The crowd absolutely expectant here on his 4th set point. It's there. Well, a standing ovation for both of them. A magnificent tiebreak, one of the best I've seen this year, if not the best. And Agassi taking it at the 4th attempt, having saved 6 set points after just an hour of play. Well, that was an absolutely wonderful tiebreak, and I think it bears comparison perhaps with the Broad McEnroe one in the 1980 Wimbledon final. And the stats there, Doug, are for you to analyze.
Not much between these guys. Agassi serving very, very well. Moya not serving well beginning in the match. He got broken, but then picked it up when he needed to. The winners, not much between the winners. The unforced errors, that's something that Moya is going to really look at and wonder how he could hit so many unforced errors. But he came out nervous in the match, and then he was able to start picking it up, hit a lot of huge winners off the forehand under the crucial times of this match. But the break point opportunities, Agassi 1 for 3, Moya 1 for 1. It boiled down to a couple points. Agassi a little bit better.
And now to enjoy again some of Agassi's winners from the set. this is how the set ended. Look at the intensity in Agassi here. The concentration secure, and the backhand driven through with all his might and main. Early preparation on the forehand, but it wasn't necessary. The ball was out. Well, we hardly had time to draw breath with the excitement of that tiebreak. It was quite wonderful, and I'm sure Moya will look back on that double fault when he was leading 6-5.
Players are ready.
Well, Moya had turned it around. He was down a break. Agassi serving for the set. Moya gets the break back and then has all those set points. And then the big tension on that double fault at 6-5 in the tiebreak. That took the set away from him.
Love 15.
Great reply from Agassi.
15.
Playing this ball on the rise, surprising Moya.
Look at the intensity in Agassi's face here. Taking a lot out of him that first set.
I guess.
Well, he was lucky there to come back from 15-30, wasn't he? Moya making a couple of errors and allowing him to hold serve after all the intensity and emotion of that tiebreak. Considerable.
And I think it's a big advantage for Agassi. First of all, he's playing so well, serving for the first set, lets it get away from him, misses a very easy shot. But after everything that went wrong and all the set points he faced, he still came back, prevailed. You've got to say mentally, psychologically, a huge edge for him.
Well, that's so true. This is a truth about tennis matches, that they're won first in the mind and lost in the mind.
Nope, not going to happen. And along that same route with thinking about the mind, actually the better your memory, the worse it is for you on the tennis court, because you can remember all the things that didn't go your way.
Yes, I remember talking to Ken Rosal about that, asking what went first as you began to age. I mean, he was winning major titles and getting into major finals 20 years apart. And he said the first thing that goes is concentration. He said you suddenly realize that a couple of games have gone by and you weren't really there. And he said that was a worrying thing to happen. The next thing that goes, of course, is the legs. Just that little bit slower. Well played.
And the next thing after that is the money.
Well, yes.
40-50.
Good early return from Agassi. And that sets up such an easy volley. Makes the game look so simple. Give him an inch, and all he needs is like a half an inch, because he can put the ball on a dime.
Again, Moya. One game.
You know, you were talking about Ken Rosewall, talking about concentration and then the legs going, but another thing is when you're young and you're playing, you haven't been through so many experiences to realize how many things can go wrong, so you go for everything. You're fearless. As you get older, you've had so many experiences that maybe went against you, and you start to think about those as you get older, and it keeps you and prevents you from going from a lot of shots.
15 now.
Very true. One notices it all the time, the fearless attacking play of the young. Quite remarkable. They don't know what can go wrong. I suppose the best example in modern times of that was 17-year-old Boris Becker winning Wimbledon.
Or even McEnroe getting to the semifinals when he was 18 years old.
Well, they know that Carlos really should have won that first set, shouldn't he? He had the set points earlier, he had the big one on his serve when he served the double fault, and it must have affected him.
Well, and he had the 3-6 point on the second serve that he decided to hit it as hard as he could, and at that time didn't seem like such a big miss.
Well, for once, missing one of those half-volley drives, but he refuses to budge. His theory is that his game is good enough to beat anybody by standing just on or just behind the baseline. He won't retreat. If the ball's deep, well, he has to half-volley, he'll do it.
Out. Again. Agassi.
And Pascal Moya having to call that one. No call from the lines post. Might have been unsighted, of course. But Agassi on serve, leading 2-1.
Agassi leads by 2 games to 1.
Well, what, Doug, a wonderful atmosphere this crowd here has created tonight, and indeed every night here. The evening matches have been quite wonderful in the intensity of support for whoever they fancied at the time, and it's been absolutely great to see the enthusiasm of the fans here. Many of them quite young.
Yeah, it's an electric environment. They know when the camera's on them. But, boy, they really love their tennis here in Cincinnati, and they particularly love pulling for Andre Agassi.
And it was nice to see, I think it was last night, one of the great heroes of this part of the world, born and bred here, the great Tony Trabert, was visiting for some charitable occasion. Trabert, of course, the US, Wimbledon and French champion in his time. Well, I think those young ladies might be feeling a bit chilly. The air is quite cool. The little breeze that there is quite a cool one. A lass there who seems to be enjoying life thoroughly. Well done.
She's a cutie patootie.
Certainly is. Now then, 2-1, no breaks, or 1-2 as Moya's going to serve, but a change of balls. Well, he'll be hoping, Moya, that the 34-year-old legs will be feeling a little weary after some of the chasing in that tight opening set.
And that's one way to get over the negative thoughts. One thing you have to do is you got to try to come up with something positive to make you think that you can win this match. So thinking, you know what, I lost that set, but I made him work really hard. If I can win this set, I'm going to have the edge in the third because I'm younger. Few errors coming off the Agassi return, not making Moya work very hard. How's that for a volley from a backcourt player?
Well, he's not just a backcourt player, he's an all-court player, but he doesn't use his volleying skills that often. And I think that's a pity because he does volley well.
Well, look at the preparation and the technique. The ball well in front. He hits with a little bit of underslice to give the ball some control. He has very soft hands. I think Moya is a really good volleyer. Both men very successful at the net tonight. Moya 12 of 16 at the net. Agassi 17 of 19.
That's enough.
Because Agassi will be concentrating primarily on his own service games. There's got him.
Moya with nowhere to go on this approach. And as he covers the center of the court, Agassi is very poised to go right down the line.
Well, the ball was just a mite short, and you'll see it coming from Agassi here. There it is. It's landing about 3/4 length, so it enables Moya to crack his winner.
$40-30.
40 love to 40-30. Going to concentrate on these service games primarily and then just go for his returns against Moya until he hopes to get one break at some stage. Skip of delight from Agassi there as he holds for 3-2 in this second set. Well, I think the way he's going to tackle this is just to have a crack at the Moya serves and not be particularly worried if he loses the game easily if Moya's serving well, but hoping that he's going to be able to suddenly to open up a love 30 position and then try and consolidate from there.
Yeah, certainly his focus is on his own serve, and he's serving very well. And then with regard to Moya, well, he can't control that, because if Moya serves big first serves, Moya will dictate how the points are being played. But Agassi, as we've seen, has had lots of opportunities for second balls, and I don't think he should miss as many as he's missing, and I feel that he's the same. He when he misses a second serve return, he always looks pondered at that, like mad at himself, you know, because he's not used to doing that over his career.
That's so true. So a lovely sunset developing in the distance there as the floodlights take over and illuminate the scene here for us.
Time.
And it becomes great theatre as the floodlights illuminate the scene. Extraordinary to think that Agassi hasn't yet been in a final in the tournament this year. He'd desperately like to do it here this week. This might be the moment that Agassi has been looking for. A careless error from Moya.
Agassi playing some defense, just making Moya hit one more ball, and then the real let off on the forehand volley didn't drive through it, just dropped his wrist.
And a second serve to have a crack at for love 30. Too good.
And really one of Moya's toughest problems is focus and concentration. We've seen it that he has the talent to play with anyone, but to play at a high level for all match, very difficult for him.
30-15.
Reminds me of the match he played against Roddick in NASDAQ this year. He should have beaten Roddick, but couldn't sustain that level.
Yeah, Moya.
Yes, he served for the match in that Roddick encounter in Miami, 5-4. He was 30-15 up and lost. 3-all. First time that one's failed him. Well, the surprise element was going to be working for him there. Moya does stand a long way back. So 90% of Agassi's forays to the forecourt have been successful.
30-15.
Getting his count up to 7 aces against 10 from Moya. Yeah, very quickly in.
Well, this really is the new Agassi. It's all about big serving under pressure, where he used to rely on the return of serve to really make him a winner in matches and do damage. He's now relying on his serve. The return of serve, he can give more away.
Late for service.
Was a slip in the concentration. First double fault from his racket. Very pleased to see that one fall long. Moya slapped his thigh in annoyance. So no breaks at serve, and Agassi falls through.
Ladies and gentlemen, following this match,
Well, Agassi, as we've seen tonight, has such a good serve. I mean, Moya, who can hit returns from anywhere on the court, is really guessing. He's not returning that many balls, except when Agassi misses the first serve. But I had a chance to talk with Agassi in LA, and particularly this one match he played, he was returning so poorly. But every time he got in trouble on his own serve, he was able to bail himself out. And so the conversation I had with him was, you know, everyone thinks of you as being one of the greatest returners of all time, but it seems like now when you get in trouble, you rely on your serve. And he said, actually, that's what's been happening. I don't like to play that way. I like to really rely on my return, but it hasn't been working as well. So I've just been fortunate that I've been able to pick up the serve, and it's been able to get me free points.
He played that very close match with Haas in Los Angeles that he lost. Well, just composing his thoughts here, making sure that the strings are in position. Waiting for the call.
And he's going to take some cracks on Moya's serve this game. He's going to go for it. Pressure on Moya to serve big, get good first serves in, and keep pushing forward. If he lets up at all, he's going to be facing, you know, Agassi serving for this match.
Well, there's the error, which he can ill afford as the second set reaches its climax.
Good jammer into the Agassi body.
Well, this could be a little bit of tension creeping in. He knows that Agassi is going to try and snatch this serve. 2 errors now. This is missed.
Wow, what courage from Agassi.
Well, this was right out of the blue, the drop shot. Caught Moya thinking late, and he was too late.
Totally by surprise on a big point.
Well, suddenly 2 break points. From Agassi here, guessing right as Moya goes for a smash, and look at this.
Agassi leads by 5 games to 3.
Getting his body away from that ball. Eye of the tiger, and Moya with a bit of a lapse, and Agassi takes advantage. We said he would go for it, and he certainly did. Well, he certainly is not going to lose serve again serving for the set, is he? This time serving for the match.
Well, it happened in the first set. He is 34, and it begins to creep in the awful doubt. The older you get. Doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter how many titles you've won. Doesn't matter how many times you've beaten your opponent. When you're serving for a match in an important tournament on an important occasion, the racket arm gets a little tighter. Very, very lucky that call, I think. Well, look, Tim, I thought it was well long, and so did Moya. Very unfortunate for the Spaniard.
And so did we.
And you can see the tension in Agassi's eyes. 2 break points against him. Good serve.
Moya has been hanging by a string this entire tournament. We talked about the 9 cat lives. Does he have any more left? Agassi not wanting to let up and let Moya come back into this, and he pounces on that short ball.
Well, now it's all about belief. He's faced the danger of a break, but back at deuce. Brilliant.
Well, Agassi hitting too many second serves this game. I'm sure with all the money in the world that Agassi has in the bank, he would pay anything for a big first serve on this point. Moya just absolutely pounding that return.
So fired up. That 8th ace just coming to the rescue in the nick of time. He didn't think that serve was coming back. It was such a good one.
Well, he's too experienced not to think the ball's coming back, isn't he?
Not when you're serving for the match. Another look to a lines person by Moya for that deep ball of Agassi to the baseline, but I think this time the call was good. It is deuce.
And Moya just has to expect on these big points that Agassi's going to come up with big serves.
There's his long.
Interesting tactics from Agassi. Moya thinking it's going to be back, and Agassi surprising and going behind to the forehand.
Agassi.
Go Agassi, #1, says the youngster with the card there. Well, it is #1 match point for him. He's done it! What a quite wonderful match. Full of doubt, full of the need to steel yourself. And a standing ovation for one of the heroes of American tennis, who's twice been the champion here, would dearly love to be there again. And And he moves through to the semi-final once more. 7-6.
Ladies and gentlemen, now leaving center court, Carlos Moya.
32 minutes.
Well, this crowd just ecstatic for Agassi. What an amazing performance. And Moya fought his heart out, but just too many lapses. He played great, then he played poorly, then he played good. But under pressure, Agassi better than Moya in tonight's match.
And the pressure was considerable. Remember, Moya had his 3 set points in the tiebreak. 6-3 he led, and he served that on his own serve, that awful double fault. What a pity.
Mental lapses and a bit of tension will cost you a match at this level. And that's why Agassi was the winner tonight, defeating Carlos Moya in straight sets. The winners equal the unforced errors. Well, Agassi's cut down on his errors. He took a lot of chances, but he was very, very sharp from the baseline. Moya, not as sharp, having to cover a lot more court. And really, if Moya converts a few of those breakpoint opportunities as compared to Agassi, that maybe changes the match.
And
that's what was.
Certainly would have done. And as always, just a handful of points deciding the issue ultimately. It's always like that in these great occasions, and it was a great match, I must say. Certainly a great spectacle. And Agassi, great to see him back in something like his best form as he moves into that semi-final. So let's look back and enjoy together the enjoyable moments and colourful moments from that match.